Let's set the scene here. I didn't come across it myself. It was foisted upon me by my mother and my sisters.
It was like, oh, look at this. Look what's going on.
Yes, look what happened to your old boyfriend, you know, and they were kind of really riding me. My mother and my sisters were really riding me about this. And it was almost as if they were blaming me or something. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know. Well, I think this is what made his case very unique, is John had written over 250 pages of what was it, was the question. Was this a diary? Were these fantasies? But at any rate, whatever they were filthy and shocking. They were so disgusting that I think that this inflamed his whole case, the nature of the things that he had written.
So
nothing he wrote described the murders that he was convicted of, although there was a 2-page document called a murder plan that they did use in evidence, and that it had 27 points of similarity between that and the 2 murders that he was convicted of. We're up now, he was arrested and so forth and convicted in 73. Now we're up to 89. I'm a technical writer. I've got a full desktop publishing setup here. And I guess you could call it a midlife crisis. I'm about 40 and I'm looking around. I'm saying, is this going to be my whole life writing, you know, hold down control, alt F4 if, you know, you want to proceed with this or whatever. And it was pretty boring. So I said, you know, I think I'd like to write something that I could put my name on, first of all, instead of just, you know, the name of the manual. And so at that time, I happened to pick up The Stranger Beside Me by Ann Rule, and it drew my attention because this was the time when Ted Bundy was executed. Yes, after I'd been going with him for about a year, it seemed that his psychological composure was more or less deteriorating, and he was no longer the happy-go-lucky kind of guy that I first was attracted to, and he became morose and so forth. And I remember one night when we went out to the beach and he was weeping and telling me that he had planned to kill a woman on his street, told me the whole details of the plan that he had made to murder her. And he was laying in wait outside her house when his father pulled up and said, John, what are you doing? And then John said, oh, nothing, and went home. And that was what he told me. It wasn't something that he was calm or cocky about. I'm not a therapist, you know, girls just want to have fun. No, I broke up with him shortly after, and there was another episode that he mentioned to me one time when we came back from boating, and we're washing down the boat and everything, and he pointed to a window 2 houses down, and he told me that a girl I knew who went to high school with both of us, named Lee Hainline, had been undressing in that window at him. Those were his phrase. She did this at him. And the thing was really strange was the mixture of emotions in his face and in his demeanor as he described this. He was both aroused and angry. I thought it was peculiar. You never seen any young man describe a girl undressing and being angry. He called me to tell me at one time that he was going to get me back, quote unquote, because he was telling me that he was hiding and watching me with my new boyfriend as he would bring me home from our dates. And we'd kiss goodnight outside in front of the house, and he told me he was watching. It was 2 or 3 page spreads in the Miami Herald and the Palm Beach Post, huge. Schaefer had become a sheriff, deputy sheriff. He had abducted 2 girls and tied them up and tortured them, and somehow or another they got loose, and then when he was put in jail for that, then he got out on bond, apparently went and killed 2 more girls when he was out on bail, facing charges for these 2 girls he tied up. So it was, the crimes that came to light at that time were very shocking. This is in 1973. We had not had the benefit of a Ted Bundy or a Gacy or, God forbid, Hannibal Lecter to teach us what serial killers were. On the book that eventually became Killer Fiction. Okay, and I thought that I would just go into this, write a book, it would be a normal book like an Ann Rule book, then I'd just go on to something else with my life. No, little did I know that this would change my life completely, and it was not a normal book. Really what it is a close-up, intense look inside the mind of a serial killer and the kinds of thoughts that he thinks, at the very least. At the very minimum, that's what it is. And my position has always been, well, look, normal people don't have those kind of fantasies. You know, I mean, it just sort of begs a question of, you know, is this, you know, true or false? It's a kind of a area that hasn't really been explored fully. He was trying to impress me and keep me interested by telling me that he was, quote unquote, quoting the prosecutor who convicted him, the greatest killer of women in this century. Now you have to understand that he was a serial rapist and armed robber who'd been perpetrating for quite a while before he hit Gainesville. Gainesville was not his first serious crime by any means. Statements were made that it was apparent that the presence of evil was in these scenes. He didn't just commit the act to kill someone, to put them out of life. He went on to elaborate in the crime scene. He posed bodies, interfered with the bodies, he mutilated the bodies after death, post-mortem. And basically, the perception was quite clear and was said to be so, that he was trying to send a message. Years later, well into the process of working with him, I asked him, you know, what was the message? And he said, well, there wasn't any message. And if there was one, he didn't know what it was, that it was Gemini's message. He had multiple personalities, and the personality that did those murders, he was dissociated from his consciousness at the time of the murders, and he gave the name to that personality of Gemini. So he said it was Gemini's message. So I said, okay, so what was Gemini's message? Finally, he said that evil lives, evil walks this earth like a natural man.